everybody should be open to page 61. We read the story of Joseph the other day, Joseph and his coat. Let's talk about why did Joseph's brothers want to hurt him? Why did Joseph's brothers want to hurt him? Zari.
Because the dad liked Joseph better than them, and he had the coat that they wanted.
And so how did they feel knowing that their dad loved Joseph more than he loved them? Carla, what was that feeling?
They feel jealous.
They felt jealous or envious. Remember, we learned envious is another word for feeling jealous. What did Joseph's brothers do to Joseph? Now, when we answer reading questions where more than one thing happens, we have to say all of it, or at least the last thing. Victoria, what did Joseph's brothers do to him because they felt jealous?
They threw him in a big pit and sold him.
So they threw him in a big pit thinking that he'd be killed, and then they decided, no, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take him out of the pit, and we're going to sell him to these men going to Egypt so that he'll be a slave in Egypt. Well, then Joseph went to Egypt, and did he stay a slave? Smith?
No.
No, he didn't. He worked his way up until he became an advisor to the Pharaoh. And so then the Pharaoh started having these dreams, and he asked Joseph, what do these dreams mean? And what did Joseph say? Zadie.
He said that
Loudly.
there would be seven good years and 7 bad years.
So there would be 7 good years. Remember, the Pharaoh had these dreams about these big, healthy, fat cows and these big, healthy, fat ears of corn. And there were 7 of them. There were 7 fat, healthy cows and ears of corn. And those dreams meant 7 good years are coming. There will be lots of food available. But then, in Pharaoh's dream, there were very thin, unhealthy cows and ears of corn. And those 7 unhealthy cows and ears of corn meant 7 bad years would come next. But now that they knew about it, what were they going to do to make sure that the famine, that means nobody had any food, what were they going to do to make sure that that didn't happen? Victoria?
They were going to gather up all the good food throughout the 7 years, and they're going to save a lot of it for all of the land that they
So they were going to save it for all of the...
for all of the citizens who need food
Good.
in the bad years.
So now that they knew about this, because Joseph told them this was coming, they were going to make sure that during those 7 years where there was lots of food and there was going to be lots of extra food, they were going to make sure to save some of it, the extra, so that when the 7 years with no good harvest and no good animals for food, they'd have it so that they could give it out then so that people didn't starve. Good. Now, this is a question where a lot of you weren't sure. When Joseph told his brothers who he was he angry with them? When Joseph told his brothers who he was he angry with them? Cullen?
No, Joseph was happy to tell them who
No.
he was.
He was happy. He was excited to tell them, hey, it's me. Because even though he had a big reason to be angry and never forgive them, is that what Joseph did? Mason? No. He was excited to see them. If we look at this one of these last paragraphs, it says, Joseph could no longer keep his secret. Why do you have trouble keeping a secret? How do you feel when you know a secret and you're like, ooh, I want to tell somebody? Especially if it's a good secret. Like, hey, I'm your long-lost brother. How do you feel when you have a secret? Smith?
Happy.
Happy, excited, especially when it's a good secret. You can't wait to tell. Well, it says Joseph could no longer keep his secret. He was excited to tell them. Because this whole chapter is about God's merciful love, about God showing it to people of the Old Testament, about how we can show it to other people, and how Joseph showed merciful love. Would Joseph showing God's merciful love mean that he didn't forgive his brothers and he stayed angry at them forever? Would that be showing God's merciful love? It wouldn't. In fact, he went so far as to say, where is it? I am your brother Joseph, whom you once sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here. So he's saying, don't be mad at yourselves. Don't be mad at yourselves for doing this to me. Don't be upset with yourselves for doing this. I'm not upset with you, so you don't be upset with you. And then he even says, and there I will provide for you, for there are yet 5 years of famine to come, lest you and your household and all that you have come to poverty. So he's saying, I will give you what you need. You will not be poor. You will not go hungry, because I, your brother that you sold into slavery, am going to make sure that you have everything you need. And did he do that? Did he do that? How do we know? How do we know that he did that? Don't tell me it says it in the Bible. I know it says it in the Bible. How do we know that he did make sure that his family had everything they needed? Don't stare at me. The answer's not here. The answer's not up in space. Carla, that's not your religion book. That has nothing to do with religion. Answer's not here. How do we know that Joseph did what he said he'd do? More than just Victoria and Zadie in this class. They don't have different materials and tools than everybody else. Carla, where's your pencil in your hand? Tilt your camera down so I can see what you're working on, please. Thank you. Zadie?
He continued to love them and forgive them in spite of what they had done to him.
Where does it say that? We haven't read that yet. We haven't read that yet. But you've all read how we know. Would it be before he even told his brothers? Where would it be in the story? At the beginning, the middle, or the end? Where would we find out how he made sure that his brothers did that in the story, or that his brothers had what they needed? Smith?
At the end.
At the end of the story. Victoria, how do we know that he did what he said for his brothers?
I found 2 sentences and they actually wrote them.
Loudly.
Their brothers brought Jacob and the rest of their family to Egypt. They were given some land to live on.
There you go. They were given some land to live on. Now, does it say Joseph kept his promise? I think a lot of you were looking for Joseph gave them food and kept his promise. But we're in 4th grade now. We don't need everything spelled out for us anymore. We're able to make inferences. Well, we know if they were given land to live on, that means they were probably given what they needed, which means Joseph kept his promise. Come on, guys, we're making inferences. You all have that sentence. It's the very last sentence. of page 60. They were given some land to live on. It's there. It's not in black and white, but we can infer, we can make an inference that that means that Joseph kept his promise. Please sit on your bottoms. Okay, so now that we've reviewed Joseph's story, some of us, the rest of us kind of just sat there and let other people take over and thought about something else. Let's talk about it. On the bottom of page 61, please read the first block of text. Michaela, loudly and slowly.
Joseph had,
A little louder.
Joseph had a great idea to
Nope, go slow. You're reading, that doesn't say idea at all. You're going way too fast and you're guessing at what comes next. Reading is not about guessing about what comes next. It's about reading it and thinking about it and understanding it. Keep going.
Joseph had great reason to be angry with his brothers. First they plotted to kill him. Then they sold him to some man traveling to Egypt. Imagine what Joseph must felt when his own brothers sold him. He probably thought he would never see his family again. However, Joseph knew that God would be always with him. Joseph forgave his brothers for everything. He even helped them during the
Famine.
famine.
That means a long period of time with no food, which we know is what Joseph said was going to happen because of the Pharaoh's dream.
Joseph helped them move to Egypt.
So, Joseph's brothers tried to kill him. And then decided, no, we're going to make him have a horrible life. Most of us would be like, I will never speak to those people again. And if I do, I'm going to hurt them badly. But did Joseph do that? Would that be showing God's merciful love? Not at all. Because remember, mercy means bringing goodness out of evil. Well, the evil was they tried to kill him. They did sell him to people so that he could be a slave. But the good thing was that Joseph did what? What was the good that came out of that evil? Michaela? Joseph forgave them. So that moved not only Joseph closer to God, but his brothers. Because do you think they eventually regretted doing what they had done to him? We can tell because they're upset when they realize what they did. And earlier in the story, it says something about how their dad is sad because one of their brothers died, and they're kind of sad too. We can make an inference in some of the things that they did or said. Please make sure you're focusing. We can make an inference that they're upset about it too. So yeah, they're probably filled with regret. They probably wish they hadn't done that. And now they realize he's still alive, and they are so happy. They are so thankful to God that their brother is still alive. If you're very thankful to God, what are you probably going to do a lot of? If you're thankful to God, what are you going to do a lot of? Ethan? Good, but what else are you going to do? If you're thankful to God, what are you going to do to God? You're on the right track. Victoria, what word? I'm looking for a specific word.
Show forgiveness.
What are you going to do to God? Are you going to forgive God? Does God do anything that needs forgiveness?
No, I would say that you're going to be like God and trust Him.
Kingston?
P-R-A-S-E. Pray.
P-R-A-Y. Oh, praise. You said, you said praise. Pray. Yes, you're going to give praise. You're going to thank God. You're going to pray. You're going to do a lot of prayer. And what does prayer do? Does it get you closer to God, or does it make you turn away from God? Cullen?
Closer.
It gets you closer. Remember, mercy is when good comes out of evil, when we are brought closer to God, out of evil. So Joseph definitely showed mercy by forgiving his brothers. And then that made them happy, that made them thankful, that made them praise God as well as Joseph. Okay, read the next paragraph. Cullen, loud and slow.
Joseph showed merciful love towards his brothers. He continued to love them and to forgive them in spite of what they had done to him. Joseph's brothers were grateful, and their gratitude drew them closer to Joseph in love and brotherhood. We should do the same thing as Joseph. We should show merciful love towards others.
Good. So if someone says something mean to you on the playground, does that mean you should hold a grudge and be mad at them and never speak to them again? Is that showing God's merciful love? No. What should you do if somebody's hurt your feelings? What should you do? Carla?
You should say to them that if you stop, you can maybe get closer to God
Okay.
and be with Him in heaven.
Very good. You should forgive them. Now, if it's really bad, of course you come and tell somebody. Of course. But you should forgive them. Sometimes what happens is somebody who's not so nice to you, the nicer you are to them, at first they might get a little meaner. But then once they realize that it doesn't matter what they do, you're not going to be mean back, that makes them either give up and leave you alone and just go off somewhere else, or sometimes it makes them realize what they've done wrong, and then they'll change towards you. So forgiveness works in two ways. The person either gets tired of trying to get you to do something that you're not going to do, get angry, fight back, whatever, and so they just leave, or it makes them realize that they're wrong, and so they start treating you better. Either way, it's a win-win. They either leave you alone and go away, or they treat you better, right? Of course, that doesn't mean you should always keep it to yourself. If it's bad, you should come tell somebody. But don't do it back, because then it's just a cycle. I'm not going to forgive you, so they're not going to forgive, so you're not going to forgive me. You're going to do something mean to me, I'm not going to forgive you, I'm going to do it right back, and then they're like, oh, well, now you're like, well, now they're one up on me, so I got to go back. And then everybody's just trying to get each other back, and it never ends. So that's why it's so important to show God's merciful love. Okay, those of you who have really been paying attention, you will do great. Those of you who keep zoning me out, which I can tell because you're like, I can see when your eyes are on me and when your eyes are here. Or here on your desk. Instead of here or here in your book. So, look at page 62. You are going to complete page 62. You will have 30 minutes. You will have until 1:30 when it's time for a spelling test. The first part says, write about 3 ways you can show merciful love. So you're coming up with an example of when somebody is not showing merciful love to you, and how you can show merciful love towards them. So we have this example. Everybody read this example to yourself while I read it out loud. My friend lied and told the teacher that I had stolen his football when he himself lost it. I can forgive my friend and not stay angry at him. So you aren't just saying how you're going to show the merciful love, because then it makes no sense to me who's grading it. You're going to tell me how the other person has wronged you and how you can help them back. How you can show merciful love towards them. So we see, whoever wrote this example, their friend lied and got them in trouble. So there's the problem. But then it also says how this person showed merciful love to the friend that lied by forgiving them. Okay? So you need both parts for each. You need how someone harms you or wrongs you, and then how you show merciful love. Okay? It only has to be 2 sentences. 1 sentence about how they've wronged you, 1 sentence about how you're going to show merciful love. But 3 different situations. Don't write about the same situation 3 times. Okay? Then at the bottom, you're going to match column A with column B. So that means column A, we can see their Bible stories. We've talked about all of them. And then column B shows how God showed merciful love, or how somebody showed merciful love to somebody else in these situations. You're going to match the situation with the Bible story. Okay, so you're going to write the number of the situation in column B on the line next to the Bible story in column A. Any questions? Yes, sorry, quickly.
Could it be just like your friends, like 1, 2, 3? Could they just be like, your friend did blah, blah, blah?
That's fine, but you need 3 different situations. So basically, just like the example, just your own thoughts. I can make you come up with 5. You want to do 5? Give me attitude about 3 and you'll do 5. It's not hard. Don't be lazy. Okay, you will have 30 minutes. When you hear the timer go off, that means you have 5 minutes left. Quickly.
Everyone still has their backpack.
Okay. Whatever, doesn't matter. Just go ahead. You can do either section first, just make sure they both get done. When you're done, girls at home, put it somewhere to be scanned and emailed to me. Everybody at school, you know, where we usually turn in our religion books, just leave it open, turn it in against the back counter.
It doesn't have to be sent till Thursday at 8:15?
No, it needs to be sent by Monday, or by Tuesday morning. Because it's classwork for today, and you have lots of time to finish it. So it needs to be sent by Monday morning.